Today I'm going to share with you the solitude of the garden and this picture of Jesus praying in Gethsemane from Matthew chapter 26 verses 36 to 46. Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee and began to be grieved and agitated. Then he said to them, "I am deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here and stay awake with me." And going a little farther, he threw himself on the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not what I want, but what you want." Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, "So could you not stay awake with me 1 hour? Stay awake and pray that you may not come into the time of trial. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Again he went away for the second time and prayed, "My Father, if this cannot pass unless I drink it, your will be done." Again he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. So leaving them again, he went away and prayed for the third time, saying the same words. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and taking your rest? See, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand." The scene in the Garden of Gethsemane is so painful on so many levels. But part of the solitude of the garden is recognizing there may be times in our life when even our closest friends, the people we depend on, rely on, turn to the most, as Jesus turned to Peter, James, and John, they just may not be there like you might wish or hoped. That was certainly the experience for Jesus. And here in the Garden of Gethsemane, he goes off and he prays by himself, and he has to wrestle with the very, very difficult prospect of dying in the excruciatingly painful and embarrassing and shameful way of dying on a cross. There may be times in your life when you feel like Jesus in Gethsemane, that there's just nobody else there for you. It's a hard thing to feel. But know that God heard Jesus' prayers and his cries in the Garden of Gethsemane. And God hears our cries and the prayers of our heart as well when we feel like there's nobody else there for me. And conversely, on the other side of this moment in the garden, thankfully as Christians we know there's another resurrection appearance in the garden where Mary Magdalene comes in her grief and she meets the risen Savior. It's the scene that is the source of the song, "I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses," and how she hears the voice of the Lord, and he walks with her, and talks with her, and assures her she is his own. That's our prayer when we're in the Garden of Solitude, that we can move from the excruciating and painful times like Gethsemane to the Garden of Resurrection and new hope.